Imagine a world where your voice isn't heard, your stories aren't told, and your existence is overlooked at every stage of life. That's how African Americans for centuries have experienced, well, life, but also theater. Today is World Theater Day, and I'm going to be shining a light on the history of Black theater in America. Black theater is a journey of struggle, love, joy, triumph, and transformation. Welcome to a world where stories do more than entertain. They also fight for justice, recognition, and a seat at the table. In the 19th century, Black theater wasn't what you might think of today. It was born out of a tradition that is often painful and degrading: minstrel shows. These performances were mostly white actors in blackface, creating stereotypes of African American caricature for white audiences. But these weren't the stories that Black people wanted to tell, or the stories that we wanted to hear. Then came the Harlem Renaissance. The 1920s exploded with creativity and authenticity, especially in the heart of Harlem, New York. African American artists, musicians, playwrights, etc. all came together and started creating for themselves, by themselves. This wasn't about just performing for the sake of performance. It was also about reclaiming identity and telling the stories that we wanted to tell, that we wanted to hear, and that deserved to be told. It was a cultural movement and a cultural revolution. Now enter the voices of people like Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, and a plethora of other Black creators who were set to take the stage. Theirs were plays that explored African American life from the inside out. There were stories about love, struggle, joy, life, laughter, and pain. They didn't just perform for white-centered audiences. They performed for themselves, for us. And the shift was profound. Then we have Paul Robeson, one of the greatest Black theater actors of all time. He broke barriers on stage. In fact, he tore those barriers down pretty much with his bare hands. Robeson became the face of Black theater for a very long time, performing roles that were historically denied to African American people. He played Othello on Broadway, a role that was traditionally reserved for white actors in blackface. Robeson didn't just act. He represented for a culture, for an entire movement of Black people who wanted to be on the stage.
She will find the error of her choice. She must have changed, she must. Therefore put money in thy purse. If thou wilt needs damn thyself, do it a more delicate way.
He showed that Black actors could command the stage just as well as anyone else. Now, the true turning point for African American theater came in the 1940s with the creation of the American Negro Theater, something I have discussed on this channel. So make sure you hit the Black History Month playlist for that. The ANT was located in Harlem, New York. A passionate group of artists, playwrights, and etc. got together and created a space for Black voices. They wanted to share stories that mattered to them, to us, about their lives, and our experiences. In 1940, A&T staged its first production, On Stryver's Row, and it was a hit. It was one of the first plays that showed the complexities of African American life without resorting to stereotypes, because it was written by Black people. But A&T's real breakthrough came in 1944 with Anna LaCosta, a play by white playwright Philip Jordan. It was such a success that it made it to Broadway. And I'm not going to get into it. This was both a victory and a challenge. Actors like Ruby Dee, Sidney Poitier, and Harry Belafonte began their careers at A&T, proving that Black actors could not only perform, they could be the stars. But not everyone was happy with the direction that A&T was going. Some felt they weren't getting enough recognition for their work, especially after the success of Anna LaCosta. The A&T faced financial struggles, internal conflicts, and criticism for relying on plays by white playwrights. After all, it wasn't supposed to just be about the art, it was supposed to be about creating space for Black creatives. By the 1950s, the torch had passed to a new generation of Black playwrights. The Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry debuted on Broadway, and it changed everything. This play explored the hopes and dreams of an African American family in a white-dominated space. It was a hit, but it was a lot more than that. It became a statement. And Not only that, but Lorraine Hansberry was the first ever woman to write a play that made it to Broadway. The first ever Black woman to write a play that made it to Broadway. And it was met with both critical acclaim and controversy. In the 1960s, the Black arts movement began. It was a new, more radical version of Black theater, spearheaded by Amiri Baraka. Baraka's plays like Dutchman tackled the truth of racial disparity head on, and sometimes very nailed. His message and his point was the fact that Black theater was more than entertainment. It was also a form of activism. We now learn that we were able to use the stage as a weapon for social change. Over time, playwrights like August Wilson rose to prominence, bringing the stories of African American culture to wider audiences. Wilson's plays like Fences showed Black complexities in America. His work won multiple Tony Awards, and he became one of the most celebrated playwrights in American theater history. Today, Black theater is more vibrant than ever. Playwrights like Susan Laurie Parks, who won a Pulitzer Prize for her drama Top Dog Underdog, continue to break new ground. Parks' work challenges the very fabric of identity and history in America, questioning the way we see race and ourselves. Brandon Jacob Jenkins, Katori Hall, and other contemporary artists are taking Black theater in new directions. They're exploring themes like Black identity, sexuality, and the complexities of Black families. Theater is not just a place for reflection. It's also a place for innovation and pushing boundaries, on top of reclaiming a narrative. Black theater has become more than just a chapter in history. It's become a living, breathing, ever-evolving part of history. From our earliest days in minstrel shows, to the radical call for change later on, to the bold and fearless performances of today, Black theater continues to speak its truth and its power. The stage is more than a place for entertainment. It's a place for transformation, exploration, and word that I use, and many other things, one of which I say all the time and can't remember. And the voices we hear on stage now are echoing the voices that have always been fighting to be heard. And if you would like to hear some more videos about maybe Black theater in particular, you can check out my Black History Month playlist. Or if you'd just like to know the history behind some of your favorite musicals, you can check out my playlist, History Behind Musical. That's all I have for today, so